Hey everyone, it's Miss Giblin, and today we are going to talk about dividing decimals. We are going to use the strategy of writing the decimals in words so that we can solve the division problem. It will help us use facts that we already know and make things a little bit less confusing. So before we start, let's look at some review problems. So we are first going to practice converting decimals into fraction forms and then word forms. So here we have the decimal 3 7/10. We can write that decimal as a fraction. It would have 3 wholes and 7/10 as the decimal. We can also write that as an improper fraction. You can do that using models or with multiplication. So here when we look at the model, we have 3 wholes and 7/10. If we were to count the tenths individually, here's 10/10 plus 10 more would be 20/10 plus 10 more would be 30/10 plus 7 more would be 37/10. So we know that 3 7/10 is equal to 37/10. We can also write that in words, 37/10. And this is going to be the most important part for our work today. We need to be able to realize that 3 7/10 is equal to 37/10. Let's look at another example. 2 5/10. We know that 2 5/10 is the mixed number 2 and 5/10. Then we can also use multiplication to convert it into an improper fraction. First, you would take the whole number and multiply it by the denominator. 2 times 10 equals 20. You then add in the numerator. So the numerator is 5. 20 plus 5 is 25. The denominator stays the same. So 2 5/10 is equivalent to 25/10. Written in words, 25/10. We can also do this for hundredths. So here's our decimal 2 and 64/100ths. Written as a mixed number, 2 wholes and 64/100ths. We can use multiplication to convert it to an improper fraction. 2 times 100 is 200 plus 64 would give you 264/100ths. Written in words, 264/100ths. Why don't you try one? Here's 3 and 16/100ths. Pause the video and try to convert this into an improper fraction and then write it in words. Once you have your answer, press play, check to see if you're right. So when you convert it to a mixed number, you should have gotten 3 and 16/100ths. When we multiply to convert it to an improper fraction, we have 316/100ths. And written in words, 316/100ths. You can try a couple more. 12 and 4/10. You should figure it out. That is equal to 124/10. 8 and 6/10 is 86/10. Now we are ready for our main skill. Today, we are going to try to solve division problems like this, 9/10 divided by 3/10, by writing the problem in words and seeing how that helps us make it easier. So if I were to convert 9/10 into words, I would have 9/10. 3/10 in words is 3/10. Now I'm going to use the facts that I know. I'm just going to look at the number. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So I know that 9/10 divided by 3/10 is 3. A tenth divided by a tenth cancels out, so we have 3 wholes as our answer. So 9/10 divided by 3/10 is equal to 3. Do you see how when we write it in words using our place value, it makes it much easier to solve? Let's look at another example. Here we have 7 wholes and 2/10 divided by 9. So we are taking 7 wholes and 2/10 and trying to divide it into 9 groups. So first I'm going to take 7 and 2/10 and write it in words. 7 and 2/10 is equal to 72/10. and I'm dividing that by 9 wholes. Notice I don't have tenths written here. So first I'm going to look at the numbers. 72 divided by 9. Well, I know that 72 divided by 9 is 8. But I have a tenth, and I don't have anything here. So that tenth is going to come over, and it's 8 tenths. So 72 tenths broken into 9 groups, you would have 8 tenths in each group. So let's write that back as a decimal. 77 and 2 tenths divided by 9 is equal to 8 tenths. And all I did was then convert my answer back into a decimal. Here we're going to do another example, and this is going to break it up slightly differently. Here we have 4 wholes and 36 hundredths. We're going to use a little bit of the distributive property here. We're going to say that this is equal to 4 ones, right? We have 4 in the ones place plus 36 hundredths. Okay? Now we are going to distribute this dividing by 4 into each one of these parts. So we can say that it's 4 ones divided by 4 and 36 hundredths divided by 4. Now, since we have our parentheses to show us which part stays together and go first, I'm going to solve this one first. 4 ones divided by 4 would be equal to 1 1. Then we're going to add to it the answer to this part. 36 hundredths divided by 4. Well, 36 divided by 4 is 9. And we're going to bring down our word hundredths. So now I know my answer is 1 1 and 9 hundredths. So I can put those into decimals and add them together. So 1 1 and 9 hundredths. So 4 and 36 hundredths divided by 4 is equal to 1 and 9 hundredths. If that was a little confusing, you can do it the same way we did other problems. If we convert 4 and 36 hundredths into straight hundredths, if we write it as a mixed number first, we would realize that we have 4 wholes and 36 hundredths. And then if we were to convert it into an improper fraction, we would have 436 hundredths. Written as words, 436 hundredths. Or then we're going to just divide it by 4. Well, so I'm doing 436 divided by 4. If I use long division, I can see that 436 divided by 4 is 109. So I know that 436 hundredths divided by 4 is 109 hundredths. Notice there's no hundredths here, so it's not a whole because they're not canceling out. So we're going to just bring this hundredths over. So 109 hundredths, I have to write that as a decimal. Let me first start by writing it as a fraction. So 109 hundredths, then I'm going to write it as a mixed number, 1 and 9 hundredths. And then I'm going to write it as a decimal. So 4 and 36 hundredths divided by 4 would be equal to 1 and 9 hundredths. Let's do one more example. 8 and 4 tenths divided by 1 and 2 tenths. Let's convert first both of these. 8 and 4 tenths is equal to 84 tenths. Remember, I wrote it as a fraction and converted it into an improper fraction, then wrote it in words. Divided by 12 tenths, same thing. First, I wrote it as a mixed number, converted it to an improper fraction, then wrote it in words. So 84 tenths divided by 12 tenths. So first I'm going to look at the numbers. 84 divided by 12. Well, I know that 12 times 7 is 84. So 84 divided by 12 must be 7. A tenth divided by a tenth cancels out. So our answer would be 7 wholes. So we can say that 8 and 4 tenths divided by 1 and 2 tenths is equal to 7. Remember, you can always use multiplication to check your work. So in conclusion, today we learned how to divide decimals by rewriting our problem using words. In this example, we have 1 and 5 tenths, 1 whole and 5 tenths, which is equal to 15 tenths, divided by 3 tenths, written in words, 3 tenths. 15 divided by 3 is 5. A tenth divided by a tenth cancels out, so we have 5 wholes. 1 and 5/10 divided by 3/10 is equal to 5. If you have any questions, please stop by and let me know. Have a good day. Bye.